Today we'll be talking about promoting cultural competency in physical education, a leadership advocacy approach, um, and a little bit of more of an emphasis building inclusive, equitable, and engaging PE environments. And my name is Demi Johnson. So this handbook will serve as a guide to implementing strategies aimed at creating culturally inclusive PE environments through leadership, teacher training, curriculum revision, advocacy, and community engagement. So we'll touch on key strategies, expected outcomes and impact, and then we'll sum it up at the end. So the problem statement, many PE programs overlook students' cultural identities. This leads to exclusion, disengagement, and poor well-being. Educators and leaders often lack training and advocacy tools, which is why this tends to lead to cultural insensitivity within curriculum and practices, lack of teacher training on diversity, absence of leadership and advocacy for inclusive PE, and systemic reinforcement of cultural stereotypes. So we aim to address the cultural competency gap in PE through leadership development, curriculum revision, teacher training, advocacy and policy work, and family and community engagement. We would like to, or I would like to increase cultural competency in PE leadership, revise PE curriculum to be inclusive, improve teacher training and awareness, and advocate for inclusive PE policies, as well as creating engaging, welcoming environments for all students. Some of the stakeholders that this will be an interest of will be administrators. They lead the policy and provide resources for the students and educators. Educators, they implement the changes in the practices. Students are the primary beneficiaries and families. They are part of the cultural awareness and feedback. So one of the strategies will be professional development. We will provide workshops for educators and administrators to remove bias and recognize it, provide inclusive teaching practices and cultural sensitivity training, as well as ongoing coaching and reflective practice tools. For strategy 2, curriculum revision. This means to review and revise existing PE curricula that might not fit the guidelines, include diverse games, sports, and activities that all the students can be a part of, and use culturally reflective materials and media, just so that the students are engaged. Leadership and policy advocacy. We will partner with the school's leaders to update policies, push for culturally inclusive language and PE goals, advocate for budget support and diverse hiring. Community and family engagement. This means to collaborate with the cultural organizations and families, host cultural awareness events in PE settings, use surveys, focus groups to gather input and feedback. And monitoring evaluation. So in order to see change, we need to create tools to assess participation and engagement, collect the qualitative and quantitative data, and track student outcomes. So the health, their well-being, their attitudes, see if this is really helping them in any way, and see where you can make adjustments. So anticipated outcomes that we're hoping to see are improved cultural competency, obviously, great student engagement and participation, enhanced physical and emotional well-being. So you want to see them nice and happy and fit. Stronger institutional advocacy for inclusive practices. So you want to see this in other programs if it does well. And sustainable, long-term improvements in school culture. So long-term impact will be a more just and inclusive education system, better academic and health outcomes, and empowered students who feel seen and respected. And overall, PE programs often lack cultural competency, leading to exclusion and disengagement for diverse students. That is why our goal is to create inclusive, culturally responsive PE environments where all students feel respected and represented using um, education and leader training, revision of the PE curriculum, advocating for inclusive policies, engaging the families and communities into their students' lives, and monitor progress and outcomes. Culturally inclusive PE supports equity, engagement, and lifelong well-being for every student. And here I just wanted to show the actual infographic that I made. And here we see that cultural competency is equivalent to inclusion and awareness and adaptability. PE is a social space that reflects real world diversity. Inclusive PE builds confidence, respect, and belonging. And research shows gaps between policy and practice. So that's just why it matters and why it's important. Cultural competency in physical education is understanding, respecting, and adapting to the cultural differences of all the students, creating an inclusive environment for them. So, in order to understand your students, you need to learn about their cultural backgrounds, respect their religions, culture, gender, attire, modesty, any of the above, integrate their culturally significant games and movements and traditions and just what makes them who they are. So equity versus equality. Equality, everyone gets the same shoe size. Equity, everyone gets the shoes that fit. So that's just an example of how we can see that within another example. So one of the ways is to adapt your teaching style, which we talked about in the PowerPoint. So use inclusive models like the sports education model, promote teamwork and cooperation over competition, offer flexible rules and communication methods. Then we can do reflect and reassess. So encourage student feedback on inclusion, reflect on your own cultural assumptions and biases, and adjust curriculum and routines regularly. Create inclusive spaces, provide gender safe or women only options when needed, celebrate cultural holidays through themed activities, normalize diverse clothing and participation styles. These are just a small amount of suggestions. You can even take action steps for educators. So start with one inclusive practice per semester, just to slowly start to incorporate them. We can share this infographic with the teams or the different programs on campus. So leadership and policy advocacy, you can advocate for culturally inclusive PE policies and funding, encourage administrators to prioritize equity, and embedded cultural competency in school-wide goals. So overall, you want to start obviously with where we can, which is PE, but you obviously want equality in all spaces for students. And then community and family engagement, partner with families and local organizations, host multicultural events and family PE nights, use surveys and feedback to improve inclusivity. And below is all of the research that I found. So.